Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the nation.
What is today, the 19th?
Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 7th day, Friday before Super Bowl day of February. Got the Mad New Yorker backstage. Going to ask him about all these trades that happened since the last time we talked in the NBA and get his thoughts on that. And, of course, Super Bowl breakdown. Get a few thoughts on that Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson MVP vote and whatnot. And we'll come back here shortly and hit the ground running here on the Real Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. And also, I wanted to thank everybody that's came on the program this week. Jamie Pags, the Philly sports guy, Jason Pattison, Pig Trail Nation, Jeffrey Deskovic, jeffreydeskovic.org, Talking the NBA with, and of course, Chris Shea Clack, a phenomenal comedian that came on yesterday. And of course, the always dependable Mad New Yorker who's coming up right now, but I got to get the audience to get a proper standing ovation here. Hey, Carla. Man, they like you tonight.
Yeah, Friday night. What's up?
Hey, buddy. You know, I didn't send you this, but I just called it later on this afternoon. And what do you think about Eli Manning not getting the first ballot bid in the first ballot Hall of Fame? I remember you said something a few weeks ago about that, ironically, that, you know, he really didn't set it on fire consistently during the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Giant fans are in the tussy, but you know that's our quarterback. But and he did get 2 Super Bowl MVPs. But you know, you're not judged only on the Super Bowl you win. You know, you're judged on your regular season. And one of the things that he was consistently is being like on the lineup. But even as a starter and being in the lineup, his stats weren't all that great consistently. You know, he had a couple good seasons, he had a few bad seasons. So you know, I think the best thing for us as Giants fans is and for him is that the fact that he ended the seasons with 2 Super Bowl wins in those 2 different years, right? So but as far as Hall of Fame, and let that run its course, and he'll be in there eventually. You know,
yeah,
I never thought he was a first ballot Hall of Famer myself.
You did or did not?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay. Yeah, me neither.
And it's not to downplay what he has accomplished, right? So, but he will be in the Hall of Fame sooner than later. So.
Yeah, same here, man. You know, if you've got to think about it, like Phillip Rivers, Eli Manning, he's not a first ballot. Guys like Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, defensively, Aaron Donald, Ray Lewis, those type of players, Ed Reed. You don't have to think of that. That's first ballot. You know, when you start getting in that debate stuff, they're probably not first. That's my philosophy.
Right. They're not first ballot Hall of Famers, but I believe like Drew Brees, Rivers, Manning, those guys, they're all going to be in the Hall of Fame sometime or another.
Yeah.
But they're not first ballot.
Now,
But
Breeze might be. I think he's still got some records. I have to go back and look at his.
But I mean, Rivers for sure. Like these
But
guys.
Rivers, I read he's a Hall of Famer, but I don't think he's first ballot.
Yeah. I mean, so these guys have Hall of Fame numbers.
Yeah.
They've had Hall of Fame seasons, but then they haven't had Hall of Fame careers, right? So I think that's where it gets kind of like,
Right.
I mean, especially here's the thing, and we always tend to forget this: the fans don't get to decide anything. So
All sports writers, yeah.
It's the sports writers, and so you have to let the process work its way out, and don't worry about it. If the player has built a career with accolades and records, then they'll be in the Hall of Fame. It's going to take time, right? So
yeah. Good point, Chief. Very close, man. This may be. Actually, I think it actually tied. It did tie 1 year with Peyton Manning, Steve McNair. I remember that year really well. McNair had the big year to start. Peyton Manning. No, Jane. This is live. Today's February 7th. But going back, I think it was 2003. Steve McNair, great start of the year that year. When we were in college, I remember it really well. And he did fade, but Peyton had a better second half.
right.
A lot of the writers got lazy. They already put McNair in, then the other writers, and they split it that year right down the middle. This was close like that between Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. I told you weeks ago, I thought Allen had less to play with.
Right.
One Pro Bowler at the time. Now they're saying 2 Bowlers because you start getting the alternate stages.
Right.
And Lamar has like 8. You can look at the stats, but I mean, sometimes the stats don't tell the whole story. And I do think that Allen deserved it this time around. What are your thoughts about that one? It was really close, and people were talking about it.
Yeah, it's really close. Again, this we don't get to decide as fans who. I mean, we get a little bit of a pick, but the season went like it went. It could have gone either way, to be honest with you, but it slid on to Allen's favor because he willed out maybe 3 games. In 3 games, he willed out a win on his back, on his shoulders, and that's what you're supposed to do as a quarterback. But the beginning of the season, man, he didn't really have much to work with.
Right.
And if you look at these games and you watch the games closely, he's the man. He's the one guy that if he's not in the lineup, they don't win any games. That's your most valuable player. Lamar Jackson could have missed a game or 2. They would have missed him for sure, but they would have had still an opportunity to be in the game. Whether they win the game or not, they would have been they would have a team on defense and on offense that would have been able to compete at the highest level to try to win that game.
Right.
The Bills don't have that. And that's one of the reasons why I was saying that I don't think they'll make it to a Super Bowl anytime.
You think they're going to make a run at Myles Garrett at Cleveland?
They can make a run to 6 or 7 people that are free agents this year, and they still not going to make it to the Super Bowl. Because they need not just to have a team that has a great, because Allen, he had a great speech, right? He said it was his team that they had a good attitude. Yeah, that's important. Everybody's on the same page, but what it also is important is to have players out there that number of players and all-stars out there that can help you when you're not in with something. If you're not on your A game, somebody has to be able to pick up the slack. And right now the Bills only have Allen. And one of the things that he did, and one of the reasons that he was better this year, was because he was different this year and not giving up the ball in interceptions and not giving the ball away in fumbles and not giving the ball away and making runs sideways.
He played a lot cleaner this year.
And that's right. He did. And so I feel like that gave him that little edge over Lamar Jackson, because Lamar Jackson has been consistent.
Yeah.
So, again, if you take Allen out of the football game for the Bills may not even win that game. So
right. Yeah. Maybe they're a 500 team or under 500. I mean,
I just feel they're not even as competitive either, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Right. So I think the as much as we look at stats and they're there for a reason, and you can use them as a point. You got to watch the games. You got to look at the games. You got to see what was going on. And Allen didn't even get a good wide receiver until the middle of the season.
That's right. That's right.
And even Amani Cooper didn't do that well. So even with him having a better receiver, Amani Cooper didn't play as good as he could have. And the Bills still were winning games. Right? So you have to take that into consideration, man. Like, like that makes a big deal. Like you went out there, you got him a weapon, and he still willed out games, even with Cooper not playing as well as he could have.
With a bunch of young guys too. Keon Coleman's a rookie,
Right. So
Shakur's a second-year guy and not really considered a burner.
Right.
More of a slot guy, And here's the votes. 27 first-place votes for Josh Allen, 23 for Lamar Jackson. I mean, that is like, woof.
That's pretty close. And, again, Lamar Jackson had an outstanding year. He had more weapons. I know that's not his fault. That's just the way. And he had a better defense for him. But
now, if he would have got the 1 seed, it would have been easy. It would have been a slam dunk, But they didn't. Kansas City got it.
Yeah, I know. They should have won that game, and he wouldn't have to worry about even thinking about an MVP award win. So I think they got slated this year, but it is what it is. We got Kansas City in the Super Bowl.
Oh man, you don't seem too hyped up. Oh man, I got to ask you that Luka and AD.
Yeah.
Boy, I told you this time last week. I said there could be some big fireworks with this NBA trade deadline. I wasn't just talking to fill air and content.
No,
I had a gut feeling that something was going to blow off. I knew something was going to happen with Jimmy Butler.
Yeah,
but I didn't never in a million years think that Luka Doncic get traded for Anthony Davis.
Well, I'm not sure if I mentioned it. I don't know if I mentioned it in the past about Luka. Maybe he has to find somewhere else to play. And I don't know if I mentioned it to you or to what's his name.
We may have talked about it.
Yeah, or even Keith. And he's a prime player. Yeah, look, prime players, number one players, A players, big time paid players. They're great to have on your team, but you got to be able to build off of them and build with them and move up and just keep moving forward and going from playoffs to turn to the semifinals and to the finals. Like, you can't just win overnight. And with Luka, you already saw the trajectory was already in the peak at Dallas. Mm-hmm. And once he got hurt, and you saw that Brunson 2 seasons ago, Brunson took over and did almost just as well as him not being on the team, then you had an issue there. Like, okay,
was he hurt during that run?
Yeah, he got
last
hurt.
Year before your Knicks signed
Brunson. Yeah, he was hurt. So Brunson came in and kind of shouldered that load in the playoff there. And then you got to see that this guy was capable of being a good guard. They didn't sign him because they got to sign Luka, right? So you're making plans to keeping Luka, so you can't do Brunson. You can't give him a huge contract. He goes to the Knicks. He's doing what he's doing. They're kind of upset that they didn't sign him back. Luka goes back. Luka comes back, takes the Mavericks to the finals.
Yeah.
But you already see what Luka was capable of, and you have to be able to put parts around him. And it just seems like, as much as you know what he's capable of, that's not where you want the team to be at, right? So he's going to have a better opportunity and a bigger chance to do more with a player like LeBron.
Will this shake him up? Will he get in shape?
He has to, because the Dallas, knowing that Dallas wasn't willing to invest in you and to sign you, and you were being more injured in the last few seasons than you should be. You come in unhealthy. The team talked to you about it. The media's talking about it. You're currently injured. You got traded while you were injured. So those things gotta, and you're not you're not a young player because he started playing professionally at the age of 16 and almost 17 years old.
So you're saying like me that just because his age says 25, going to turn 26.
Yeah, he's like a 30. He's
those
like
tires are more like a 31, 32, 33, baby.
Yeah.
With that tread usage. I think that's a good point. And I think it's been under talked about, overlooked, that aspect of it.
Yeah, it's business.
By the way, I read today. Did you see this today? I don't know if you probably did or not, but this guy, Nico Harrison, is getting death threats. And his security is going to be beefed up around him because of it. That's the general manager for the Dallas Mavericks. I mean, making this trade.
Look, Dallas fans need to be kind of like happy that they got parts that they needed out of it to be competitive. So you still have an opportunity to be in playoff mode and be competitive.
Yeah.
You picked up a couple of draft picks. You picked up extra money because now you can sign 2 All-Stars that are under the age of 27, right? You can sign 2 pro players. And
I mean, he was pushing 3. It's going to be a 340 super max. He's not eligible for that now. So that's another good aspect. Boy, Jeffrey Deskovic was way down on this trade.
No,
I like your perspective. You put the good perspective there. I never thought about the money aspect of it, of what he's going to command in 26. It's a good point.
And you're the Dallas Mavericks. Not that you're a bad team and you've had a bad franchise, because what Mark Cuban has done for you ever since he took over the ownership, he's revolutionized that area in basketball in Texas and in Dallas. But you're not a huge market team. You're not, and there's no.
I don't know. They're getting pretty big now.
No, but there's
They're not LA, New York big, no.
Right. So they're in the media. They're and you get what you get, and you get But now you have opportunities to get more than what you used to get because you're not locked in. You're not hamstrung to a player that it's hard to build around him. Like you literally have to have players that are better than him to make him even better, right? So, it's okay. Now the problem is finding those 2 young guys coming out. You can build your team around.
Does Dallas have a shot this year?
Oh, definitely. They again, they'll be competitive. They still got Kyrie. They got the guys coming in there from the trade aren't terrible. They're not. There's not greatness like Jordan on that team, but again, it's a team sport, and in the level that you're playing in the Western, you have an opportunity to be competitive and get some wins. And you have a good coach in Jason Kidd, right? So, you have opportunity there. You just can't squander and just be thinking, oh, because Luka's not here, because Luka's not there anymore, and it's LA's issue to fix, right? Luka is a star who needs to have support in other ways, and I'm sure he's heartbroken because he just bought a house in Dallas and this and that. But that's not relevant, because at the end of the day, if you're an athlete superstar, you can be moved or bought to go other places, especially if you're one of the top play. Not everybody's going to stay in the team that they're on if they're the top player. And money begets more money. If you have a super agent or you have a great agent, you can make more money. So you can make moves, especially if you're a highly skilled, highly, look for type of player, type A player. So he'll get over it. He's got to get over it. He's got to move on. He's got to mature. He's got to get healthy.
That's the key word, mature. I mean, there's a video. I thought it was this past week, but this was apparently back to last year, where one of the assistants grabbing a beer out of his hand after winning a game. I didn't know they still drunk beer in the locker rooms. I thought they did away with that years ago, but apparently not.
Well, listen, if nobody, I'm not a hypocrite. Be like, oh, you can't have drinks and you can't have fun.
No, it's fine, but I don't know directly. Not unless you won the championship or something.
Another thing is that your body is your moneymaker, so you got to treat it, with as much as you can and get the best out of it. So as the older you get, you already know. You and I know we're not gonna go out there and run 5 miles like we was 21 or 22, not at our age, right? So, and that's what he's got to think about. He's not his age; he's older because he's been playing professional basketball for a lot
like
longer.
14 years old or something like that.
Yeah, so
he was kind of like Tony Parker, except Tony Parker always kept his weight down for the Spurs. So, that is not really being over. Nobody else really brought that aspect of it up. I
don't know if you remember the Ginobili deal when
another guy that stayed in great shape.
The last deal he made, though, he was looking for a 5-year, or he was looking for multiple year contract, and they were like, "We're gonna give you a 2-year." And he's like,
he played way late. I mean,
but you're like 30-some years old. You're almost, you're closer to 40 than you are to 30, 20, 25, 27. So it's like, and but he put his head down. He, was able to finish out his career, and he, he did what he had to do. But that's what you got to do sometimes.
Does PJ Washington perhaps take the last shot instead of Kyrie? I think he's got the talent to do so. I mentioned Kyrie the other day, but I got to looking at Washington, and he's got that kind of big time potential with him.
I think with Kyrie is like we kind of often forget that he's a better point guard than we make him out to be because of some of his outrage. He's point guard first. He's always been pass first. He's passed out on a lot of huge shots to give his teammates better shots. So I think if you give Kyrie the opportunity to be great and play great, he'll be that great point guard that you need him to be. If you force him to be something he's not, extend and overplay, give him too many minutes, then he's not going to be that top point guard you want him to be, especially at his age right now. So he's not a ball hog. If you think he's a ball hog, then you would have got rid of him, right? He's one of those great basketball minds that sometimes is overlooked because of his attitude towards certain things, especially in the media. So he's a good basketball player, and you need a good basketball player to be in the playoffs and in a championship. So
this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. This guy's hit nothing but home runs practically. As a general manager, yes, he could have got more. He could have got more for Luka.
I don't think he could have got as much as people thought.
I'm saying more draft picks or something.
Because
leverage later, not to use, but maybe for leverage.
I think most people, if you're looking to move Luka, there's got to be a reason why you got to look. Or you're looking to move him, and I think Dallas. If you look at from an outside view, and if you're looking at Dallas as a franchise, you're seeing that Luka wasn't going to be the guy to take you over the hill. Over the mountaintop, or to the mountaintop, because he needs more. He needed more support. Remember, we always talk about you got to be at least 7 deep to be in the finals, right? Remember?
Do you think that they're going to go on long scoring droughts because Luka's not there?
No, I believe that if anything, they're way better defensively.
That's what I'm saying. They're going to get way better.
Yeah, they're going to be competitive. I know you want someone to take the points to score 40 points. Everybody wants that on their team, but you have to look at it as a basketball team and not as making the move of signing Luka for another 5 years, overextending yourself, and not being able to find anybody else that can play with him or play alongside of him. If you look at it the other way, like, we just fell apart, then you're not thinking about the future. You're just thinking about, in the moment. And like, even in the moment, your GM got you a decent situation to be competitive. Yeah. I wish the Knicks had that situation 3 years ago.
Yeah. And it seems like they regretted moving off of the Luka and the Brunson thing. And, Jeffrey made a good point also. How does Luka, LeBron play? Both of them love to carry the ball up. Right. 2 small forwards that can play point. I mean, that's going to be interesting. And why do we have to know from LeBron's camp that, Oh yeah, LeBron's gonna stay. LeBron's he's like. Do we really have to assume he doesn't want to play one of the best players in the world? That was kind of weird the way that went down with the Lakers.
I think what happens when you have a LeBron or even like a Jordan, you're submissive. You don't, like you would hear Scottie Pippen talk about it now that he's retired, but he's like, "Have I got the ball more? We could have still been more. Like we could win one more championship." And it's like, all right, Scotty, calm down. But you did what you did to get into championship mode because Michael Jordan was in charge. So, and I'm not taking nothing away from Jordan. I'm not taking nothing away from Scotty. They both are great players who had to get to playing together, and they won championships together. And that's what you got to do. You got there's only going to be one chief, right?
Yeah.
And if the chief's sitting down and you're on the court, then you're the chief. And if you both are on the court, then you know who's going to be the one who's going to lead.
I would give the credit to LeBron. If I'm Luka, you got to give the respect to the guy. He's got 4 rings,
Yeah, you got none.
40-something years old, still playing.
Right. So
my thing is, if it's me, I would, like I said the other day on the program, I don't know if you heard it, but LeBron would carry it up in the first half. Luka would carry it up in the second half when your point guard is not carrying the ball.
I was going to say
LeBron's going to be tired.
When I heard you say that, I'm like, the point guard, whoever the point guard is, should carry the ball all the time or any time to go ahead.
But you know how they don't really have this is.
I know.
Positionless basketball in 2024.
I know that ISO junk, but
I see freaking Victor Wembanyama carrying the ball up the other day.
Yeah, when I'm seeing that, I'm like, oh my god! Like I just get like cold.
Taking all those threes.
Bro,
he's fun to watch, though. I mean, what do you think? They pulled it off. They've got De'Aaron Fox, by the way, down there in San Antonio. De'Aaron Fox is looking ahead to the future, man, and I don't blame you, man. What do you think about that trade?
It was an okay move. Look, one of the things that I would like to see less is the players taking rest days. But then I want to see more players play to take that course on. Like I want to see more team ball, and I think it would benefit the NBA if those guys on the bench were more on the court than they were like dancing and swinging towels at each other when they come, or being street clothes. I feel like if a guy got an average of 15 to 22 minutes to play a game and scored an average of, try to push it to try to score an average of 18 to 20.
Are you talking about the Spurs or the Lakers?
No, I'm talking about just in general. Like, I don't like to see, like, what if this guy gets hurt because he's throwing threes or he's pushing the ball?
Wembanyama.
Yeah, and the Spurs. What if that happens? What's the coach going to say? Oh, well, that's just.
He takes too many threes as it is.
Yeah, so like, these guys I feel like in all the NBA, more players should get more time to play, and these all-stars should just relax a little bit.
Do you think it was De'Aaron Fox made the right move, wanting to go to the Spurs, and
I think he's
looking ahead towards the future like that?
Yeah, I think he's looking more like to be one spot and try to get a 3+ year contract and be set up to just be more, not worry about anything, And that's okay. You could think like that. And if he
could have got more money if he could have stayed with the Kings.
They're
the team that
I don't think he wants money where he can't win. Nobody wants to get paid more if you can't win. I mean, it depends on how old you are too, though. So
if you're in second contract or third contract, you're probably okay. The NBA. By the way, folks is feeling sorry for Luka. He's in the middle of a $200 million second contract.
All right. He's going to be
His third contract is going to be what, 260, 300, whatever the Lakers can max out and pay him. The Lakers will pay him.
Right. And now that
he's going to get more advertisement in the Lakers if he shows up and gets fit, As
long as he plays more than Anthony Davis, he's going to be okay.
I jumped ahead of myself. Does the Lakers have a shot to win the title? I think that they're going to be interesting, man. They may have a shot, this year.
I'm looking at that, and I wouldn't mind seeing the Lakers play the Mavs in the first round.
That would be fun. I would love to find the seeding for that.
Yeah.
for the seating for that to fall into place. You said you didn't like that Mark Williams trade there. You said I haven't followed. I'm just looking at his stat line, looking at his age. 7-footer, got good numbers. Now it does say day to day. You said he's an injury prone guy.
Yeah, he doesn't play full seasons. But a lot of guys that right nowadays and with that height and that frame, usually are oft injured anyways. But when he's on the court, he's hard to defend and he does his job well, getting rebounds and blocks. So, and he could be a little bit of an energy guy again, but he has to be on the court and he has to stay healthy. So I'm to try to force him to be what he's not is you got to be careful. You just let him play his game and just try to don't force him.
43, 19, and 23. Yeah, you're right, man. Yeah.
Oh.
But I guess the Lakers felt like they just couldn't pull it off with the
no, they needed
Vukovic from Chicago would have been ideal.
Yeah, they needed
that might have got them into the finals, man.
They just need some height to compete with other teams that got height, and this guy gives them an opportunity to be have matchups not be going too bad to the wayside.
Yeah. I just don't know how. One minute I think, man, they got a shot at the championship. The next minute I think, well, they're probably going to have some height issues. And without that defense down low like that, LeBron's going to wear out in every game.
Right.
And then you've got Luka coming back from this injury. I don't know if they just punt on this seat, even though they got a good record,
Right.
They got a good record. So if you ask me right now who's coming out of the West, I don't know, man, because I'm a little disappointed in Minnesota and Denver. Why didn't they do anything?
Yeah, you would want to see a little bit more out of them. I was watching even the Milwaukee Bucks, and I'm like, man,
I like that Kyle Kuzma for Chris Middleton. Did you?
Yes.
That brings you some energy,
And I said that Middleton, as much as he was a good player for the Bucks, he was there way too long, and he was already
banged up, man, inconsistent.
Yeah, so again, don't take nothing away from him. He was a great player for the Bucks, but the Bucks need to get young. This is a young man's game, and you need young guys out there on the court, especially if you're going to be playing the style of basketball that they play today. Which is just running and just going back and forth and just throwing up shots. You need to be young and be agile and jumping. You're more likely to get hurt in today's game by jumping up and getting a rebound than you are to getting hit in the jaw or getting punched in the face like back in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, you can get elbowed in the head and get a concussion back in them days, especially if you're going up, in the lane against the.
But you didn't miss 2 weeks. You didn't miss 2 weeks. You missed about a game and a half, 2 games.
Get you stitches in the halftime. Come back out there and do it. On second thought, the quietest team has been Oklahoma City.
Yeah,
and they quietly got Chet Holmgren back.
Mm-hmm.
What if it's their year? I think you picked them to go to the finals, didn't you?
I wanted to see them in the finals last season, but I like that young group. I always like the young group that comes out, and they have they're getting a little bit more experience now. The skin's a little thicker, so
they might get there by process of elimination.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that they get an opportunity to shine and make some of themselves. It was good when back in the day when they had Harden and Westbrook and Durant. You would like to see.
Yeah, but these are new kids.
SGA. No. What I'm saying is that you like that energy, so you want to see.
Oh that. Yeah. You're saying that youthful, that
energy in the playoffs is live. It makes the playoffs more competitive and more lively, and you want to watch it now. Hey, who are these young guys? Even when you had the young Orlando team back in the day and stuff like that. So it's always good to have one good young team in the playoffs, at least one,
Yeah, and they may very well. I don't know if the lack of depth is going to get the best of a Denver, and the same thing with Minnesota. Just not sure about Minnesota. Remember, they had the big size advantage last year. Not so much this year because Cat's playing with your Knicks now. So, boy, I tell you what, come April, it's going to be interesting to see how this stacks up. Does Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green get into it?
I'm sure they'll snap at each other.
That's two pit bulls right there.
But if they get mad at each other and put it out on the court against the team they're playing, against their opponents, they're going to be okay. They're going to make it fun to watch.
That's right, Chad. Maybe Boston, this is just sitting back like cracking their knuckles and, we got this again.
I know, man. That team,
especially if they can keep Porzingis healthy, and that's a big if.
I told you when they picked him up, that was always going to be an if.
Yeah.
But the thing about that team in Golden State is that they bring in a guy that can, if somebody's not scoring, he's gonna pick up a few points. He can pick up 20 points easy. So he doesn't have to be scoring 45 points. He can be in the back, or if he needs to be, if someone gets entered, he could pick up the points in that way and be a starter, right?
Yeah.
So they pick up a player that has edge, that gives them a little bit more a more competitive, tougher around the edges, and that'll help them in the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, they're pretty far down there.
If they get there.
Yeah, they'll probably make a run. I mean, they got better. They got better. There was a huge trade. Listen to this, Chad, Carlos. The Warriors proposed. This was a proposal. This came out today, according to Shams Charania. The Warriors proposed sending Jimmy Butler, Jonathan Kuminga, first-round picks, second-round picks, swaps to the Suns for Kevin Durant. The trade fell through when Durant showed zero interest in returning to the Warriors. And I said, on social media, I was like, wait a minute. Why didn't you throw Draymond Green in there? He don't like Draymond Green. He does not want to play with Draymond Green. But did you hear that trade? I mean, if they were going to do a double, I didn't know they could do that, but they were going to do a double trade, acquire Butler from Miami, and then send him down to Phoenix somewhere for Kevin Durant. And Durant's like, nah, I'm not playing with Kevin. He didn't say it, but we know that they were into it at the end there. He didn't want to play with Draymond,
I'm starting to hear a lot of Durant talk now.
Yeah, he's another guy. He's past his – Durant needs to be an off-the-bench guy to me. I mean, he don't want to hear that. But these guys in mid-30s out here playing, that you got to look at a reality check here, man.
Yeah, I'm still on the Kuminga train. If the Knicks can pick him up and give him a good little contract, he'd be nice to have on the team, man. I like that kid. He's from New York. He already understands what it's like to be here. He knows the Garden.
They've been trying to dump him. I've been hearing him on like every trade proposal.
Yeah,
they finally got rid of Wiggins.
I know. And there's a lot of people upset about that because a lot of people like Wiggins in Golden State.
Chad said he could be like an Horry guy. Just kind of leave him as a guy coming off the bench.
I mean, Robert Horry was.
It would have been nice to get. I just do not want to see that Denver team be one and done. Joker is so freaking talented, man. You hate to see a guy like that legacy just be a one championship, like a who's the guy that played for? His name was right on Dr. J. You don't want to see him to be. And I thought Dr. J, although before our time, I saw the highlights and they're looping around and all that. He just happened to be between the Celtics and the Lakers era there. I just think this guy's so good, man, and I got a feeling that's going to be the case if they don't get some players around him.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, he got his championship
depth around him, anyways.
Like he's got his MVPs. They didn't win. They won anything? No.
He's got 2, I think, don't he?
2 MVPs?
Yeah, he was about to get 3, and then of course, one year before last or whatever.
Now he's got his MVP. So I mean,
the Joel Embiid gave him his MVP. That being said, I just totally forgot about OKC. And then you've got Boston. It's just going to be Boston at the end. They're a well-oiled machine, ready to go. I noticed that Boston made a good move getting rid of Smart, and you realize that I don't know if you read that Marcus Smart got moved from Memphis.
Right.
That kind of fell under. So Smart must have been, maybe he was a bad seed. He got moved to Washington, man. Poor guy.
He's just inconsistent, and they expect him to play more defense than what he's going to play, and he's not that type of player.
Well, he's a defensive player of the year.
I
Is
know.
the effort just not there in Memphis?
Well, you have to not. He can't be the only one playing defense, is what I'm saying. When he was in Boston, he was the third guy up playing defense.
Yeah.
Because Tatum would play defense until the third quarter, and then Brown would play defense. And they're around the rim anyway, so their defense is mostly like people coming up around the 12-foot, 15-footer. So, when you're in Memphis and you're the only guy playing, you're one of the three guys playing defense, and you're the number one guy playing the most defense. That's tough, man. Like, because they're expecting you to be the one carrying the load, right? Because that's why
Memphis
they got
is
you.
in it right now. And I think Houston's like a 2 seed, but everybody's jumbled together. I think Memphis is just fine. I mean, they've and by the way, Butler got a 2-year extension for $112 million. Gave him some money, kind of changed his tune a little bit because the earlier reports are he didn't want to go to Golden State. I don't blame him, man. I ain't gonna do nothing.
He goes where they gonna pay him, man.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and pay him. And
at that age,
might feel better if you give me some cash. That's a line out of a song, Get Over It, by Don Henley and the Eagles. I feel pretty bad since my little crash. Since your little crash, you might feel better if I give you some cash. Get over it. About people suing you for everything,
It's an Eagles song.
Yeah. I don't know. That song just stuck in my head here. Let's see. What else do we have on here? Going through everything. Yeah, Boston's, by the way, Boston's still the favorite.
Yeah, they're going to
win the championship.
If you want a good comparison, and I don't want to throw this guy under the bus, but the Luka trade is kind of like Carmelo Anthony move. Once you move Carmelo Anthony, the Denver had a better situation to build for the future, and they came to New York. You made one playoff.
They made a run at the finals there a few years.
Right. So, I mean, I'm not saying that Luka and Anthony.
Didn't the Joker come out of wasn't he a player like one of the last in draft picks from that Carmelo Anthony trade where they got picks years to go?
I think so. He got the future trade, right?
Yeah, it was one of these picks can go 6 and 7 years ahead of time.
Right. So, but I'm just saying, I'm not saying they're the same type of player. I'm just saying that they have.
Well, in the sense they are. They're both very good shooters. They both had weight problems. The
situation's similar.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But Carmelo would have not been able to take the Nuggets to another championship. Yeah.
Well, Luka's a better talent.
Luka's a better talent. I feel like, and the only reason I say that is because Luka has played more basketball in his life than Melo did as a professional. Had Melo been in Europe, maybe he could have been maybe he could have a little bit more talent.
It would have been better to see him play 3 years, but I had that great year at Syracuse while we were in school, man.
Right.
Winning that national championship. Yeah, and in Cleveland, they didn't do nothing, but they're playing great basketball. I don't know. There's one season, then there's a postseason. I know that they played in the postseason last year, so that makes me think they're going to be interesting this year in the playoffs if healthy. Don't you think so?
Yeah, I mean, Cleveland right now, they're exciting to watch. They'll have 2 or 3 injured players, and they'll still pick up the pace and just they're doing very well, man, defensively as well. Because when you're watching them running and scoring, you're like, well, these guys don't even play defense. But then they get back.
Yeah. And they had Jared Allen got hurt last year. He's got some age on him, and you got to hold your breath that he gets hurt or stays healthy this year and don't get hurt this year,
But it's a fun team to watch. So
Yeah. So I've heard a lot of verdicts on this Super Bowl, man. And let me ask you this. What's your game plan if you're Philadelphia, man? What's your offensive game plan if you're Philadelphia?
You definitely have to run the ball 25 plus times with Barkley.
Okay.
He's going to get 90 plus yards for sure. He's going to get at least one touchdown, maybe two, but that just gives you 14 points. You're still going to have to throw the ball, and you're going to have to put the game in Jared's hand. And I don't know what's going to happen. He's your quarterback. He hasn't made too many mistakes throwing the ball this year. Less interceptions, less takeaways, less fumbles. But you know that your team has to run the ball, and you know that I think their most important player is going to be Goddard. And when the third is short, if he makes his production, if he gets his production of 5 to 10 catches and gets those first downs and those yards that they need, they're going to be okay. Just to extend the plays and keep the ball away from the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah. They cannot fall back on kicking any field goals. The moment they kick one field goal because they can't make a first down or they can't score, that game is done.
So you don't have the faith in this, although there is a stat out there, and I told you about the John Gruden. I don't know if you watched the show the other day. Patrick Mahomes is 7-0 against Vic Fangio, 28. That's the defensive coordinator there for Philadelphia, and averaged about 28 points. Now, this is a great personnel, though, and everybody's going to play, by the way. I know Jalen Carter got hurt. So that's you're saying Dallas Goedert, a lot of runs. You're thinking 25 plus carries for Saquon.
They have to give him the ball. They cannot.
And you're saying they have to make all touchdowns?
I know that Saquon's going to score a couple touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's 14 points. So they're going to have to
birthday, yeah. You must have saw the show.
He's gonna have a close to
28, trying to get baptized.
This is the problem. This is what's gonna happen with the Eagles. He's gonna have and show out, and he's gonna play an MVP type of caliber game, right? The 2 touchdowns, 90 plus yards. But they're not. That forces them to make sure that Brown, Smith, or Goddard score at least 2 touchdowns.
Or 1 for each, and then that would give you 28 points.
Yeah, well, but again, and that might not even be enough, because if you give the ball back to Kansas City, they can score a point in less than 2 minutes, 3 minutes, always.
Yeah. Right? So how defensively? What's your strategy what's your strategy against Kansas City if you're Philadelphia's defensive coordinator?
You got to contain Mahomes. You let everybody else do what they want, but you got to box them in somehow or another. And in that itself, you have fun, because do you
use one of those nickels or a safety instead of a linebacker to try to spy him so he doesn't run? Do you blitz him more? What?
I just feel like you spy him. I feel like the more you hit him, the more agitated he gets, and the better he gets finding Kelsey and getting those nice runs going. Even him, look, Mahomes is gonna if Mahomes. This is another thing. If Mahomes doesn't run more than 20 yards Super Bowl Sunday, they're not gonna win. He's got to run at least 20 plus yards.
And he always finds a way to do so. And,
right. So, like you have to contain Mahomes as much as you can, and that's your biggest. I think that's your biggest challenge right there. Pacheco, he's not a Saquon. He's going to get a few yards here and there. I'll be surprised if they don't have that rookie under the wraps and that as a wide receiver, man. I would treat him as a number 1 and double him.
Worthy?
Yeah. I would do that just to get him off of his game.
Yeah.
right? Because he's
You know,
young.
they got so much depth in their secondary. They can do all this stuff.
Yeah,
and
I
get
would
away with it.
because
The Philadelphia Eagles.
Worthy. It's not that he's a number one receiver. It's that he's the quickest guy they have when after he
He's
catches
a major playmaker.
Yeah, he's a major playmaker. So
even for a rookie.
Yeah, because Hollywood Brown, you can have him out all day, and he's gonna be what he is. From what he was in Baltimore to today, you already know what he is. You already know what you're gonna get from him. The one person you don't know and he's peaking and he's starting to go up is Worthy. You don't know what he's going to give you.
Arrested Xavier Worthy's scary if you're the Eagles.
So I would definitely spy him, double him, and force Hollywood Brown and Mahomes to make sure that they connect, because they're not, they're not on the same page yet. If you think about it,
What's your strategy if you're Philly's offense, or if you're Kansas City's offense? Excuse me, other way around.
Kansas City's offense, like just play regular. Just play what you usually play. Yeah. Don't go out scheming about maybe using the run more than a pass. Just give what the defense gives you, and they'll be okay. They're a seasoned team. They have a lot of veterans that've been there before. They're not going to be on the high and the lows. They're going to be pretty much consistent as far as energy. And the one guy that you want to get going is Worthy. And if the other team doesn't allow it, then you can work around that because you already know. But if you're the Eagles and you don't think that guy is going to be, because he's a rookie, I put him. Yeah. I put Lejeune and him together. They're both rookies, so they're both gonna have the same kind of energy about being in the Super Bowl. I would definitely, if I'm the Eagles, I would match them up right away. Like,
Oh yeah, that's interesting. Yeah,
because
pretty fast. Jason Patterson said he would play more zone, and I got to thinking, the way that the zone closes on the ball carrier, the way he did. Derrick Henry, Cooper DeJean. Maybe they could get away with playing zone because they got the personnel. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, right. Cooper DeJean. They might be able to get away with that. So Kansas City defense, what's your strategy? Do you just stack the box and say, okay, Hurts?
You play it. You have that coach there. He's been playing these top-rated runners. Spagnuolo has been playing these guys since when he first got there, and got some of the best running backs to stay under 70 yards, under 2 touchdowns. Guys like Henry, he held down Henry when they played the Titans. He held down like some during the season. He held down guys like Jacobs and stuff, and those kind of runs. So he knows what to do with that. The defense knows what to do with the running game. They're gonna be okay. They just don't, give Barkley, if you like, they'll give him the run. Just you gotta force that quarterback to make bad decisions. That's you gotta put it in his hands, and
bend but don't break, essentially.
Yeah, and so and you got to stop him as a running back. Him as a running player. So, Hurts he's gonna have to be a Pro Bowl MVP type. This has to be, if the Eagles win this game, it's because he plays like an MVP Pro Bowler type quarterback.
Yeah.
And
that's a good point. Yeah.
And that's something that the Chiefs are okay with forcing him to be. And if I'm the coach, I'm like, go, let's see. If he wants to be on the upper echelon of quarterbacks, he's got to take over this game.
If you think about it, though, they win that game 2 years ago. If just looking at the points, of course, if Jalen Hurts doesn't turn that ball over, if he's not stripped for a strip sack fumble towards halftime, we're talking about a different story. We're not talking about a 3-peat. I know ifs and nuts, but here's my thing. Here's my analysis, man. I think Philadelphia is very good offensive. I mean, they're the better team overall. They know they're the better team overall. I don't think they have to overthink. They don't have to be scared of the fact that Kansas City's a 2-time world champion.
Yeah, no, not at all.
They could just play their game, and that's what if I'm Sirianni, I'm telling the guys, listen, we're going to save some of our wrinkles for the fourth quarter, our red zone wrinkles. But other than that, we're just going to play our game. We know we're better up front. We're going to run the ball. Let's not try too hard. Let's not give them anything. Let's make them earn every single thing. We know we're good. We were here 2 years ago. We're not going to make that same mistake. Let's not get in some kind of scoring contest here. Right. And like Patterson said, if he was on Philadelphia's side, just try to wear Chris Jones down and keep running the ball because our defense is good enough where they're not, because they played. Look at all the close games Kansas City's played. Right. Kansas City's not going to blow them out unless you have a fluke turnover or something like that. If you have that perspective, I think Philadelphia should play with a lot of confidence.
No, they should go in there confident, but I'm telling you, their confidence is going to get shot the moment they have to kick a field goal because they can't get a first down.
So your philosophy is go for it on fourth down. If you're like 4th and 5 at the 3 or 4th and 3 at the 2-yard line, would you go for it in the first half or would you kick a field? I'd kick field goal because I feel like my defense will keep me in it. If it's late in the game, that's a different story.
Yeah, definitely. So it depends on how close you are to the red zone, man. And you force. So
you're kind of already acting like Dan Campbell, man.
You have to force. The Kansas City defense to play out of their realm.
Yeah.
You have to force them to play extra, to play more, to get tired, to get worn. And you're going to be tired because you've been getting smacked up or you're smacking up on Barkley, right? Because that's the point. Yeah. So, but you need to, if you're Philadelphia, you need to take that with you. So what you do, if you're 4 and 5, you line Barkley up there and you push it towards the face, or you get Hurts to run, but you put you put a fullback or you put a lineman back there in the I formation, you push and you grind it out. Yeah. And if you don't get it, fine. But this was the first half, so you're wearing these guys out. Because come the second half, you make the smarter choices depending on the score too. You kick the field goal. But the first half, you gotta grind. You gotta push. You gotta make these guys overplay, overextend, overuse their energy, because you don't. As much as you might have the better team on paper, those guys have 2 Super Bowl trophies.
Yeah, that's my point. You can't let that get in your head.
No,
you got to look at it as if this is a game on February 11th, 2025. This is not a game of what they done last year and the year before that. Yeah. You just got to look at my 11 versus your 11 and say, we know we're better than they are. We gotta show it. We're not going to beat ourselves. We're going to play a clean game, and we're going to win this game, bar none, because we're better. That's the mentality I would have if I'm Philadelphia. And by the way, folks, I didn't mention if I was Kansas City's offense, I would utilize the middle of the field. If there's a weakness in Philadelphia, I think it's their linebackers.
Yes.
Noah Gray, even DeAndre Hopkins, some of those off receivers, running backs in the middle of the field, and they're going to do this anyways. I already know. They're going to run at angles around Philadelphia, and they're going to be successful at that. It's all about closing in on the red zone.
Yeah.
They don't have a Tyreek Hill. Oh, well, they do, but it's Xavier Worthy.
Right.
He's not quite as polished because he's just a rookie. He still may catch a bomb in this game and score a touchdown, but
well, he's definitely going to score a touchdown. At least
Slay. I would put Slay on him and maybe have some safety help because I know that he's a burner. But is he smart enough as a rookie to outmaneuver a Darius Slay? I think Slay's going to beat him with his mind because he's a rookie. Well, we'll see what happens. But, Fangio's not an idiot. He's not going to put him on. Nobody's going to be on an island.
No. And, Spags versus Fangio. I mean, look, this game.
Spags is the man, of course, but we all know.
This game is going to go. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say I think the Chiefs are gonna win this 31-27.
Okay, that was my original predictions. I think it'll be tight, and the Chiefs will figure it out too. I'm thinking 27-24. Both teams are going to utilize the over and under is it's 48.5. I forgot to send you that, but it's
right.
And it stayed 1.5 the whole time, by the way.
Right.
Chiefs. So really, it's like a pick 'em game.
Mm-hmm.
Vegas don't know what to do, and there were there was some some thought that maybe the money was gonna go in on Philadelphia. Philadelphia's got some injuries, but everybody practiced at the end of the week. They're all going to play, man. I think even Brandon Graham will probably play.
The worst thing about Philly, the worst thing that could have happened to them is that they played the Washington Commanders to
destroyed them
and destroyed them, right? So they're high. They're riding a winning high. That's the worst thing to ride when you go to the Super Bowl because you like you start being like, well, we were triumphant. And but you were triumphant, but there was no the competitiveness was not there.
Look how good they played Baltimore, man. Although Baltimore was a little sluggish.
Yeah.
Philly, I don't know. I felt like Philly got a little bored. They're going to be so in tune in this game. That's why I'm really looking forward to this game. And
if they lose, do you fire Sirianni?
Nah, man, I don't know. They get losing it depends on what they do. If he calls some crazy stuff, man, and just looks totally out of control, if half the team gets the DUI or something, or gets public intox on Saturday night, then maybe I'll fire. I don't know. I don't think none of that's going to happen. They're going to show them ready to play. Jalen Hurts carries a suitcase to work, man. He's all business.
Yeah, I don't. Again,
this could be Lane Johnson's last game. That's not news. That's just my opinion. That's a big time right tackle for Philly, man.
I like Hurts. I don't like that perspective that they put on him in the media that he's just barely winning anything. Like any other quarterback, if it wasn't Hurts, would be high praise. Like look at Jared Goff. I feel like
that's a thing. The team is so good.
I've saw Goff do a bunch of knucklehead things. Like I feel like Hurts played better than him this season. People call me crazy, but again, Goff is surrounded by a bunch of different players that
that's a tough call. But if it's short yardage,
it's time for this kid to step up. I'm sure in the back of his mind he had this whole thing about what happened in Alabama because they had Tua come in. Like I'm sure all that stuff he's somewhere in the back of his mind, like he needs to be number one guy all the time.
I think there's a chance that Devontae Smith could be. If they win, I think Devontae Smith could be the MVP. He gotta
be in it to win it, man. This is his time, and
he shouldn't press though. He shouldn't.
No.
When you play fast, remember what Coach John Wooden said: play fast, but don't get in a hurry.
Yeah, don't hurry. That's right.
I'm
not
talking. I'm not saying mistakes.
Look, he doesn't have to go out of his way. He has a running back that can take the 20, 25 carries. He don't have to do all that job.
Yeah.
But when it comes time for him, he gotta let it rip. He gotta let it go, and he's got to show everybody that he can, if they need him to.
So you're 31-27 Chiefs. I'm 27-24 Chiefs. So no matter what happens, I guess we'll be tied in the playoffs. We'll be tied in the postseason, and we'll talk about it next week. And part of me is hoping we talk about the Gang Green pulls it off, and other part, I don't know. Other than Jamie, the fans are annoying, and I don't want to hear about how great the Chiefs are. So it's like damned if we do, damned if we don't.
Yeah, I don't care what team wins as a New Yorker, but
if they both could lose, that'd be great. But no, that's not possible. Somebody's got to win. You play to win the game, and if the Chiefs win, they've earned it, man. Hell, they just they're really consistent team, and they show up to play. What can you do, man?
They're both winners. They're both winners. They showed up to the Super Bowl.
They showed up. Yeah.
But one of them's going to come away a victor, though. This ain't kids. This ain't everybody gets a trophy.
I'm not even excited about the halftime show because you got Kendrick
Lamar.
But then you got SZA.
That 30-minute halftime show. This will be a good game. This will be better than people think. It could go overtime, like last year. So
the one game I don't want to see overtime is the Super Bowl.
What would be surprising if one team actually blows out another one with these talent on both of these teams? Yeah, that would be a surprise to me.
It'll be a blowout.
Yeah. No, Jamie says it could be a 2-score. It's going to be a 2-score Philly win, but he's a little biased with the green face. So
I good for him.
I'm over, man. You got anything else you need to plug real quick?
Not at the moment, man. We'll be all right. We're gonna have a good weekend. Everybody be safe. If you're twisted or you're not feeling well or you ate something bad, just call an Uber. Call your boy Robert.
Just don't throw up in the car though. Throw up outside the car. I'll give you mints inside the car.
No, be safe, people. Call somebody. Stay over at somebody's homes. You guys who are having people over and you guys are having these huge parties, take the keys from people. You can have fun and nobody needs to get hurt, man.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you coming on. Let me give you a shot.
And don't go to work on Monday.
Oh, that's right. See you, man. That was a Mad New Yorker. And have a good night, everybody. I'll see you next week. Same time, same place here on The Real Sports.